Hi, I'm Saskia Nugent. Welcome back. So today we are going to do a savory bread pudding. Now, in the last episode, I went over how to roast off a lot of different types of vegetables, some in the oven and some on the stovetop. One of the things you saw me create was an oven roasted vegetable medley with onion, sweet potato, golden potato, apple, and green bell pepper. We're actually going to use that medley in what we're making today. So for our ingredients, we have toasted bread. We actually got a loaf of a nice Italian bread from the Open Door. I'm using just over half the loaf of bread, which is about 8 pieces. What you're looking for is, once you cut it up, 4 cups of toasted bread. So once I take the bread out of the oven, which you want to toast it till it's about light brown, not too dark, but not too light. You want it dried out so it's nice and crusty, and when you pick it up, it just falls apart in your hands. So at this point, I have broken up most of my slices of bread and put them into a bowl. I'm just going to add the last 2 pieces, which I'm going to cut into chunks. And they just, once they're dried out in the oven, by the way, when I do toast the bread, I toast it about 325 for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to just add these into the bowl. There we go. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually take the medley that we made that's now been chilled, and we're going to add that directly into the breadcrumbs or the bread chunks. You can use your hands, you can use a spoon if you like. I'm going to just toss that mixture together in the bowl. If you want to, just dive in with your hands, combo them together. Now, I have 3 non-stick bread pans behind me, which I've actually coated with a little bit of olive oil. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move the bread and vegetable mixture into those 3 pans. So, important note, you don't have to use non-stick bread pans. You can use glass, you can use pie pan, whatever you have that's oven safe, honestly. Because what we're doing is we're just baking this in these pans. So it's not really important the type of pan you're using. Though what I would say is that you want to make sure you have at least 2, if not 3 of them, because you want to spread this out into a couple different loaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of these in, just using my hands. And I want to fill each pan up about halfway or a third of the way. Move it around, make sure it's evenly distributed in each pan. Now, once that's done, we're going to take the bowl that we had the bread mixture in, and we're actually going to add 6 eggs. We're going to add 2 cups of milk. And I'm going to season this with Dijon mustard, chili flake, and nutmeg. A little salt, a little pepper. You can season it with just salt and pepper. You can season it with dried herbs. Sage would be lovely, some dried oregano. You can season it with nothing at all. You can just use the egg and the milk. The egg and milk will create a custard effect. Custard always incorporates egg and milk. If you've had a sweetbread pudding, you know that it actually, what it does is, as it starts to bake, the egg and milk soaked into the bread creates a spongy texture. So I'm going to mix the eggs and milk together. And you want to make sure you break down the eggs completely so that they're fully incorporated with the milk. Next, we're going to incorporate the Dijon mustard, the nutmeg, and the chili flake into the mixture. With this, I'm just going to use a rubber spatula, scoop it right into the egg and milk. I'm going to add a pinch of salt, and I'm going to add a couple grinds of pepper. As far as the Dijon mustard and the chili flake and the nutmeg go, I use 2 tablespoons of mustard, 1 teaspoon of chili flake, and 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. Gonna add a little bit of pepper to it. Now there's something about cooking something where you start to get excited about eating it while you're making it. I can already smell the flavors of the vegetable with the toasted bread. Now I'm mixing together the nutmeg, the Dijon, the salt, and the pepper into the egg mixture, and the smells are already starting to come together, and I'm getting really excited. Before I add the milk and egg mixture, I have 2 cups of grated cheese. I've chosen a cup of cheddar and a cup of mozzarella. As long as it's 2 cups of cheese, you can use whatever favorite cheese you have in the fridge. I'm gonna sprinkle it over the top of the bread and vegetable mixture. And perfect. Oh. I'm already getting hungry. My mouth is watering. Now the one thing with this side, which is incredible, is you could actually just eat this for breakfast. You could eat it as a side. You can eat it as a replacement to your holiday stuffing. It's very multifaceted what it can be used for. I'm gonna just sprinkle a little bit of grated parm over the top, just a little bit. Now, I happen to find some leftover bacon in the fridge. So I'm gonna be a little bit bad here, and I'm gonna add a little bit of cooked bacon into each one over the top. You don't have to add the bacon, but I would add the bacon. Okay, we're good. Now we're gonna start to pour in the egg mixture. The one thing you wanna note is that once you add the egg mixture, you're gonna wanna let it sit before baking for about a half an hour, just so that the egg and milk can soak into the bread. And then you're gonna wanna cook it at about 325 to 350, again, depending on your oven. I'm gonna cook it at 325, and the reason being is that I don't want the eggs to burn on the bottom of the pan before the bread cooks through evenly. So I'm gonna cook it at 325 for about 20 to 25 minutes, or until the egg is completely cooked. So now I'm going to pour the mixture over the top. Awesome. And we're going to transfer this over to the fridge and let it sit for a half an hour. So now it's been about a half an hour, and I have let the savory bread puddings sit in the fridge to soak up the egg and milk mixture. I'm going to transfer them over into an oven that's preheated to 350, and I'm going to let them bake for about 20 minutes until golden brown. It may take about a half an hour depending on what type of pan you're using. You'll just want to keep an eye on it. So let's get those into the oven. I cannot wait for you guys to smell this once it starts cooking. Come on, let's go. So here we have the bread puddings all ready to go right into the oven. And we'll set a timer for 20 minutes and we'll come back. So I can smell that bread pudding cooking. It ended up taking about a half an hour, a little more than 25 minutes actually, at 350. I'm gonna pull it out now, and I cannot wait for you to see what this has turned into. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now what you want to do is you want to take a spoon, this is how you know it's done, and you're going to just push down on the center to make sure that there's no raw egg or milk that comes up to the top, and that means that it's cooked all the way through. You're going to want to let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes to cool down. This helps it all rest before you eat it. It's also going to be boiling hot, so you don't want to get this in your mouth just yet. Now, if you'll notice, I have 3 of these, so it made a lot. You're more than welcome to cut this recipe in half, or even do a third of that and only make 1 of these. So I want to remind you that this can go with anything. A savory bread pudding is great for breakfast, it's great for lunch, it's great for dinner. For breakfast, I would suggest serving it with a side of salsa and some scrambled eggs. For lunch, serve it with a fresh salad. For dinner, you can serve it alongside roast beef. You can serve it alongside roast chicken. You can serve it as it's on its own with just a little bit of more cheese on top if you want. This is a really great dish to be able to make through the holiday season and through the winter. It's very warm, it's very comforting. It uses ingredients you have around your house all the time. So at this point, I am going to bring over one of these gorgeous bread puddings. I am going to take a couple really nice spoonfuls and I'm going to add it directly into a dish. I've put just a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the dish. This smells so good. Now, alongside that, we're going to do just a small amount of fresh salsa. Just for a little cool, spicy bite next to the nice, rich, savory bread pudding. And there you have it, guys. Oh, I'm so excited for you guys to try this recipe. It's going to make you and a lot of people very, very happy this winter, this holiday season. Talk to you soon. I'm Saskia Nugent. Thanks so much.